Speaking of public records, just really quickly, I'm going to go back to the issue of the day, power plant. Are you on record anywhere of having ever supported this plant?
You know what, that came up last night, Steve. I don't remember ever taking a vote of the city council.
Have you ever read any correspondence in support of it? Any letters, any?
I sent a letter to the NEPA, and when the NEPA report was being done, and that letter outlined my current position, with the exception of I mentioned in there that one of the reasons that the city should look at it is because of the revenue, and also, as I talked earlier about the water and sewer rates, because of the upgrades and whatever that we're trying to do. Plus, we're on the hook now, and as early as March, we should be desalinated water should be in Brockton. So we're on the hook for 2.5 million gallons of that we have to pay for, even if we're not going to use it. So because of those things, because of the fact that we're being fined for putting the wastewater in the river, that we're not going to be able to do that. And we're building, on this upgrade, we're building new capacity, but not able to put more money in the river. We're not able to generate more business to, from the outlying towns to generate that, although we do have an alternate plan. But I mentioned in that letter, the $1.5 million in revenue, the use of the effluent from the plant, and the desalinated water, but had in that letter stated that everything was depending on the overall, my overall deciding factor would be what the environmental impact would be on the city.
Could it be that letter that makes people think that you might have supported it in the past or been open to it?
No, I got a sense from what Mr. Stewart said last night, that this may go back to the original plan, which many of the people that are against this plan were in favor of that plan at the time. And it actually got permitted, but the market wasn't right for the electrical. I think at some point during that time, we may have taken a vote to sell, there might have been a contract to sell water to them at that time. But there was no public opposition to it. There was no reason at that time that they went before the city council. But I probably, if that was done, because I heard somebody say also that the Jack Units had indicated there was already a contract and they didn't have the city for the water, which was not the case. They can't, the contract that was before is not valid today. And one of my other positions is we're not going to let them go around any of the normal processes because, we're going to lift the little bit. If we had it, then we should have to make all the decisions.
Do you have a sense of how big the opposition is to the plant?
No, because I'm getting quite a few people on the opposite side. Obviously, the people that live right in that area have very grave concerns. I think a lot of the real powerful opposition has more to do with there being an election than it does to being the power plant there. I think that there's legitimate concerns about, there's rumors going around, that the ammonia can blow up and result, which is not true, because it's 81% water. And so there's all that kind of stuff that, that there could be an explosion, there could be a cloud go over the school and all that stuff. Those things aren't, those are the things that people are saying. I know that, actually Mr. Byer, I met with him and he gave me this report and he said that, it's going to cause the Legionnaire's disease, the cooling system. And when I read the report, it sounded like my pool. It said, if you put the chemicals in, it's okay, but if you don't put the chemicals in, then obviously then things could happen. So.
Has this issue become bigger than it should have gotten, you think?
No, I think the people that are in opposition, strong opposition to it, have every reason to be. As I said last night, I've said numerous times, my oldest his son and his 3 kids live in West Bridgewater, just along the line off of Copeland Street, which is, less than half a mile from there. So, that's why my thing from the beginning has been this environmental thing. So, I'm hoping to get some kind of information back from the consultant that we hired prior to the 25th, which is the last day to file any information with me. Because if there's any potential, what I've asked them to do is pull out, forget all of the design and all the other stuff and look at that, but if there's any potentials there for pollution, either by the water or the smokestack or any of those things, that they could put that in a report that we could share with people so that those things get looked at in the final analysis before they approve. The city has no approval process in this at all. The only place that we would have an opportunity to stop them would be either at zoning. I think if they went to zoning, they could probably go to court and beat that eventually. But the water and sewer is going to be the water that they need to run the plant. They can't run the plant without water. I think that's going to be the key.
What do you tell somebody like Mr. Byer or another business owner who says, I might want to build down there, Mr. Baber, what's the chance of this power plant coming online?
I had that discussion with him.
What do you tell someone?
He thinks that it's going to be, he thinks it's going to be products and all that other stuff.
What do you tell some outside business prospect who's looking at that region and they ask about the power plant?
So that it's in the process and no decision's been made. I don't think it's, even the plant that was approved and permitted 8, 9 years ago, whatever it was, I mean, that plant, the technology today, the technology changes drastically in a short period of time these days. But they say the technology today is much different. I haven't actually been up to the plant in New Hampshire that they talk about, but it's my understanding there's a neighborhood right adjacent to it, and that they've not run into any of the issues as far as a drop in value of the properties or any of that kind of stuff. Because this plant is supposedly as clean as they can get it.
Are people not realizing the tax implications of having this plant?
I don't think that, I think it's a little too emotional an issue right now. And I think that's what I've been trying to do. We've had this discussion many times, just say, hey, I'm against it.
Yeah.
Leave me alone. But you know what, I think that there are reasons that we should follow it. To be candid with you, I don't think it's ever going to happen.